Imagine waking up in a cramped, gray apartment in East Berlin. The air smells of stale tobacco and coal dust. You are not a citizen. You are a ghost. You are a deep cover operative, a sleeper woven into the fabric of a world that would execute you if they knew your true name. This is the 1960s, the height of the Cold War, where the front lines aren't drawn with tanks, but with whispers, microdots, and the constant, suffocating weight of paranoia. This is your life as a spy in the Cold War. Your journey didn't begin here. It started years ago in a windowless room in Langley or Moscow where they stripped away your identity. You spent 18 months learning a new history, a legend. You memorized the names of primary school teachers you never had, the layout of a hometown you've never visited, and the taste of a life that belongs to a dead man. To the world, you are a low-level clerk at a trade mission. To your handlers, you are the most expensive asset in the field. The first rule of your survival is tradecraft. It is a religion of the mundane. When you walk to work, you aren't just walking. You are performing a SDR, a surveillance detection route. You stop at a shop window to check the reflection of the street behind you. You tie your shoe on a corner to see who pauses. You look for the tail, the three-man team whose job is to ensure you never have a private moment. If you see the same gray Trabant twice in 3 miles, you don't go to your meeting. You go home, drink a glass of bitter schnapps, and wait for the fear to subside. Your primary tool isn't a suppressed pistol. It's a Minox B sub-miniature camera, no larger than a cigar. You spend hours in a locked office, photographing shipping manifests and troop movement orders. Every click of the shutter feels like a heartbeat. You have to be perfect. If the light is wrong, the film is useless. If the door opens, you are a traitor. You hide the film in dead letter drops, a loose brick in a park wall, a hollowed out magnetic bolt under a park bench, or a fake piece of dog excrement designed to look like refuse. You leave a chalk mark on a specific lamppost to signal the drop is ready. You never see the man who picks it up. You are brothers in a war of shadows, but you are strangers by necessity. But being a spy isn't just about documents. It's about mice. The 4 motivations of a traitor: money, ideology, coercion, and ego. Your job is to find the source, someone inside the enemy's inner circle who is vulnerable. You spend months cultivating a lonely secretary at the Ministry of Defense. You don't start by asking for secrets. You start by being a friend. You find the crack in their armor. Maybe they need money for a sick relative. Maybe they are angry at being passed over for a promotion. You feed that anger. You become the only person who understands them. When you finally ask for the first document, you aren't a spy. You are a savior. And once they take your money, you own them. You have created a mole, and their life is now tied to your silence. The tension of the Cold War isn't a spike, it's a plateau. It never lets up. You live in a state of constant vigilance. You check your apartment for bugs, tiny microphones hidden in the molding or the telephone receiver. You use a burst transmitter, a device that compresses a long radio message into a fraction of a second, firing it off to a satellite or a distant listening post before the enemy's direction-finding vans can pin your location. You live for the number stations, eerie, synthesized voices, reading strings of digits over shortwave radio. To the world, it's white noise. To you, it's your orders for the week. One night, the signal changes. The number station reads a specific sequence, 9254. It's the burn signal. Your source has been compromised. The secret police, the Stasi, or the KGB are closing in. Your heart hammers against your ribs, but your face remains a mask of boredom. You have a go bag hidden in the lining of your closet. Inside is a fake passport, 3 different currencies, and a cyanide pill, the L pill. They told you in training that if the interrogation begins, the pill is your only friend. You begin the exfiltration. You don't go to the border, that's where they expect you. You head to a crowded railway station, changing your coat and hat in a public restroom. You use the brush pass, walking past a contact in a crowded stairwell, a brief bump, a coat-to-coat transfer of a forged exit visa, you feel the sweat cooling on your skin. Every person in a trench coat is a potential executioner. You board a train heading toward the frontier. The border crossing is a masterpiece of psychological warfare. The guards look at your passport, then at your face. They look at the computer logs. You feel the third degree without a word being spoken. You aren't a hero in this moment. You are a gambler whose life is the stake. They check your luggage. They find nothing but mundane clothes and a book of poetry. They don't see the microdot hidden under the postage stamp on a postcard to your aunt. They hand back the passport. The gate lifts. As you cross into the west, into the glare of the bright lights and the smell of real coffee, the weight doesn't lift. You realized long ago that you can never truly come in from the cold. You are a man who knows too much and exists too little. Your legend has become more real than your true self. You look back at the gray skyline you left behind, knowing that there are others still there, sitting in dark rooms, listening to the numbers, waiting for a signal that might never come. To sustain this life, you must master the London rules, a set of informal guidelines for operating in hostile environments. Rule number 1, assume nothing. Rule number 2, never go against your gut. You spend your weekends at a boring suburban park, not because you like nature, but because it's the only place where you can scan 360 degrees for a static post, a stationary observer disguised as a gardener or a painter. You learn to recognize the Moscow station style of surveillance, the bumper-to-bumper technique, where 3 cars rotate positions to stay behind you without being obvious. You become an expert in microphotography. You aren't just taking pictures, you are creating microdots. You take a photograph of a top-secret technical manual, reduce it to the size of a pinhead, and glue it over a period in a regular letter. You use invisible ink, sometimes as simple as lemon juice, sometimes a complex chemical compound that only reacts to a specific developer vapor. You write a mundane letter to a cutout, a middleman, about the weather and your health, while between the lines lies the trajectory of a new intercontinental ballistic missile. The psychological toll is the wilderness of mirrors. This is the term for the state of mind where you can no longer distinguish between the truth and the lie. Your handler tells you that your source is a hero, but you suspect he's a dangle, a double agent sent by the enemy to feed you. Chicken feed. Low grade or false information. You start to wonder if your own agency is testing you. Are they watching you watch the enemy? In the world of signals intelligence, SIGINT, you spend nights in a skiff, a sensitive compartmented information facility, listening to the hum of tape reels. You are looking for the anomalies, a sudden spike in encrypted traffic from a specific Baltic port, a change in the guard rotation at a nuclear silo. You are a detective of the invisible. Your social life is a minefield. You meet a woman at a library. She's charming. She likes the same obscure poets. Is she a honeypot? A female operative sent to seduce you, to get you into a compromising position so the enemy can blackmail you? In the Cold War, love is a liability. You learn to keep people at a distance. You become a master of the soft probe, asking questions that seem innocent but are designed to see if her story has holes. Where did you say you went to university again? You check her answer against your mental map of the city. One slip, one wrong street name, and you know she's vetted by the opposition. You don't run, you play along. You feed her disinformation. You become a double agent in your own heart. The most dangerous part of your life is the polygraph, the lie detector. Even if you are innocent, the machine can kill you. You learn countermeasures. You place a thumbtack in your shoe and press your toe against it during the control questions. Like, is your name John? To spike your physiological response. This creates a baseline of high stress, making your actual lives look normal by comparison. You learn to control your breathing, to slow your heart rate through sheer force of will, even while being accused of being a mole. As the years turn into a decade, you see the world changing. The tech gets better, Satellites begin to replace the need for human intelligence. But the human element never disappears. A satellite can see a missile, but it can't tell you what the man with his finger on the button is thinking. Only you can do that. You are the human censor. You attend diplomatic cocktail parties, balancing a martini while your ears are tuned to the sidebar conversations. You listen for the tells, the nervous tick of a colonel, the boastful slip-up of a drunken attaché, but the cold eventually gets into your bones. You realize that the great game has no winners. Both sides are just trying not to lose. You've seen the black bag jobs breaking into a foreign embassy to steal a code book, leaving no trace but the lingering smell of ozone from a high-speed drill. You've seen the wet work, the accidental falls from balconies, the heart attacks induced by a poison-tipped umbrella on a London bridge. You realize that you are a pawn in the game played by old men in safe rooms who will never know your name. Your final mission is a deep-sea salvage. A submarine has gone down in international waters. Your job is to get the encryption keys before the enemy divers arrive. You spend 72 hours in a pressurized cabin, the sound of the ocean pressing against the hull like a giant's hand. You get the keys, you get the documents. But as you surface, you realize the price of knowledge. You know things that make it impossible to sleep. You know how close the world came to mutual assured destruction over a misunderstanding in a Cuban harbor? In the end, when they finally give you your gold watch and a new identity in a quiet town, you find yourself sitting by the window every evening. You aren't looking at the sunset. You are looking at the street. You are checking the reflections. You are listening for the hum of a transmitter. You realize that while the Cold War might be over for the world, it will never be over for you. You are a spy. You are a ghost. You are the outline of a life that was lived in the dark so that others could live in the light. This is the reality of the shadows. This is your life as a spy in the Cold War. A life of absolute silence, where the only thing more dangerous than the enemy is the truth you carry. You are a master of the wilderness of mirrors, and in that mirror, you no longer recognize the man staring back. You are simply a code name, a legend, and a whisper in the wind of history.